just talk to people every day, you will succeed. That's the common theme. If you listen to any podcast having to do with real estate agents, any YouTube, just talk to people. You have enough conversations, you're gonna put in the path of opportunity. My first.
How do most agents who don't have access to the secrets that the top agents in our industry hoard to themselves grow and prosper in today's real estate environment? That's the question. And this video podcast is the answer. I'm Pat Hyben, and welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
Real Estate Rockstars. Hey, this is Aaron Amuchastegui. I just got to interview Julian Colvard. Julian is a young guy that is hustling so much out in Atlanta. He talks about how every day he makes sure that he sends at least 100 direct messages on social media to people he's never talked to. Phone calls, how many phone calls he's doing a day, what his methods have been with for sale by owner, and how he is totally succeeding right now. Only is his second year in real estate, and while people are locked down on shelter in place during coronavirus. So this is an episode you're not going to want to miss. This is really a no excuses episode. He grew up in a bad place without an education, and he was able to educate himself through books, through podcasts, through everything, and just good old-fashioned hard work. And he is really, really crushing it. I was so proud of him and so happy to have that conversation in the day. Listen in. Rockstar Nation, this is Aaron Amuchastegui. Hey, I am interviewing today Mr. Julian Colvard from Atlanta, Georgia. Julian has been a listener of the podcast. He's been interacting with a lot of our team on Facebook and email through Rebus University and every other way. And one of my team members reached out to me and said, hey, I love what Julian's doing. I love the interaction he's doing on Facebook. You really need to get him on the show. And so today is the day. Julian, we got you on the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. You doing all right?
All right. So out in Atlanta, what is Atlanta like right now during like coronavirus? What's the lockdown status? What's the law? How's everybody feeling?
Atlanta is deserted. Nobody on the streets. Everybody's got the mask on, the gloves on, and the people who can work from home, they're working from home, but it's really nothing going on. And our housing supply is like non-existent. Yeah, that's how it's like out here. You want to drive out here, usually it's bumper to bumper traffic, hundreds of people on the street at all times, but it's the complete opposite now.
It is opposite. What a trip, right? Like especially, so you live in a busy area of Atlanta?
Yeah, West Midtown. It's so to give you an idea of how many people stay where I stay, there are 7 apartment buildings being built within half a mile of me. So all of them are in walking distance, and there's around I think it's 1,400 units, somewhere around that, 1,400 units total that are about to be available. And there are already 5 or 6 existing apartment buildings with at least 200 units each. Within half a mile of me. So that's to give you an idea how busy it is.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot from, in the core of the big cities, that's where it really feels crazy. I mean, everybody's working from home right now. That feels crazy. But if you live out in the suburbs, a lot of neighborhoods, there's people walking around, they're out, they're functioning. But and in gated neighborhoods, maybe you didn't always see a bunch of cars driving around. But in the cities, where people are used to seeing just a ton of cars all the time. I mean, what a weird vibe, right? Like people that live in the city, they kind of love the hustle bustle of the city. They like the energy, the cars, the everything. How has your mood been with that? How are the people that you've talked to? Are people dying to get back out? Are they talking to people? Are they staying inside?
Yeah, it's all pent up. When we do come off of quarantine, I don't know if you ever been to Atlanta, but it's like the club city. It's clubs everywhere. When we do come out of quarantine, it's going to be a party probably every day for the 2 weeks straight. So that's what I
think you're right.
People, I've heard people been getting laid off, but I only know one person who's gotten laid off. But I know probably a few people who've been furloughed. So that's how my experience or the other people's experience has been as far as job security that I know of.
Yeah. So right now, we've got that pent-up demand from people wanting to go outside. You also said there's not much real estate available right now. So is there not much on the market? Is not much transacting with what's going on?
Yeah, it's not much transacting. Well, there's a lot transacting, but it's not a lot listed for sale on the MLS or on Zillow. For sale by owners are having a hard time selling their house too, because they don't want, I call FSBOs, and they don't want anybody to come over to their house unless they have a qualification letter, like a pre-approval. And as you know, like most of the people who call FSBOs are just listing agents. So they're having a tougher time. Lenders have gone up on their requirements. The big banks that like SunTrust and Wells Fargo, Bank of America, those guys have gone up on requirements. A lot of folks took their houses off the market, and they said, yeah, we just waited out. We wanted to move out before our kids transferred schools, but we don't even know how next school year is going to look because we might be in quarantine for up to a year. So it's really no point of moving if our whole purpose for moving was so we can, like, our whole purpose from like moving or holding off on moving was to wait till our kid got out of school. But now our kid is out of school. We don't know if they'll actually be physically in another school by the next time we move. So it's really no point of moving. That's what I've been hearing, talking to folks.
So that makes a lot of sense. So you're talking about people taking it off the market to wait it out and try to see what's out there. So you talked about this pent-up demand where you think everybody is going to be partying in the streets. Now, some of those people that are waiting to sell, as soon as we get released, they're not necessarily going to be ready to sell yet because they still don't quite know what it means, right? So you're right. People that were motivated for specific reasons, hey, we're moving because of this job. Hey, we're moving because of school. The college scene type thing, that has changed so much because I know that the schools out in California a few months ago said, hey, go home. Even if you're staying in on campus out, like school's canceled, go stay at your parents' house. Go back to where you are in the off season. Like those are big fundamental changes. But for the other people, do you think as soon as they get us off shelter in place, a bunch of people are going to list their houses on the market again? You think the FSBOs are going to go back to normal, or do you think they're going to be cautious for a while?
FSBOs, they probably just throw their houses up on the market as soon as we come off of quarantine. I'm like, oh, this is our opportunity. A lot of those FSBOs need to sell too. They're in a position where they have to. So they're definitely going to put their house back on the market. That's at least from what I've heard in Atlanta. If I talk to 10 FSBOs, 9 out of 10 of them have a situation where they have to. No, it's not because they want to.
Yeah.
And I don't really know because I never dealt with anything like this before in my life. Neither has my grandma. I was looking up some stuff on the 1918 Spanish flu to see how things were handled then, but I really couldn't find much. So I just really don't know what's going to happen as far as the housing market when we come off of quarantine. But right now, prices are still going up. People are still getting over at list price. Houses are still going under contract within the first week in Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's still hot out here right now.
So do you think, so right now, everything stops. The for sale by owners are going to put the stuff back on, especially because they need to sell, right? Just like you said, like a lot of those people, they need to sell it right now. So they're going to be willing to do that. Do you think that do the for sale by owners become a bigger opportunity for you right now? Is that something that is a big part of your business plan?
Yes, man. For sale by owners, they at first they were putting their house up because it was just so easy to sell. Just boom, boom, boom. Like it's just a hot market. Everybody's in. Everybody wants to buy. But now a whole bunch of buyers have gotten eliminated because lenders have got stricter requirements. So it's like you can't just put your house on Zillow and it's just you get an offer within the first week anymore. You actually have to work to sell it. You have to expose it to the folks who have the buyers, which are the agents, and they're not doing that on Zillow. And then on top of that, they might have a nice house, but it's something like as small as professional pictures. Even though people might hear that and say, "Oh, pictures don't mean nothing." Well, yes, they do. They take pictures of the app with their iPhones and they put it up on Zillow. It's like, no, your house looks worse than it actually is, or you'll probably lose out to a house that's for sale that's worse than yours that somebody probably like less, but it just looks better online and it attracts them. But yeah, FSBOs are definitely a target. This guy Jeff Glover, he's been on Real Estate Rockstars 1 or 2 times. He was saying that when the market starts to when it starts to get tougher to sell. Even though in Atlanta it's not really like that. Like, so he was talking about the shifting market going down. FSBOs, they have a tougher time selling their houses, so they need agents more. Even though the agent's not going down, it's still that type of environment for them right now. So I'm definitely targeting FSBOs, calling them up every day in the morning, starting at 7:50, and trying to get face to face with them as soon as possible, because I think some type of statistic said like 80% or 87% or 70. I don't know, but it was like the majority of people go with the first agent they meet, not the first agent that they hear from, or the first agent that persuades them. It was just the first agent they meet. So I'm just trying to get face to face with these people as fast as possible. And once some of the agents, not agents, FSBOs, I tell them like, hey, if you don't want me to come over to the house, that's fine. I wear gloves and masks. If that doesn't work for you, that's fine. I can call you on Facebook, or I can call you on Instagram, because you got the little FaceTime over there, and we can talk about it. And that has worked. So they're probably gonna go with me after they get tired of having their house up on Zillow for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's great advice right now, because you're right. People have to work a lot harder to sell right now. So the for sale by owner, that pops up in a booming market where people are getting multiple offers. And I don't think they need to pay the commission. But in times like this, you need great pictures. You need virtual walkthroughs. You need agents that are going to respond. You need agents that are willing to walk through a house and do video calls with people, because people are also nervous. They don't want to go walk through 10 houses, whereas that used to be fun. 2 months ago, the families loved walking through 10 houses to pick one. Now people are like, they only want to walk through one because they're scared, right? So they want to see the Zoom calls ahead of time, so they narrow it down. So they're not going to go to 10 just for the heck of it. They're going to say, I want to go to 1 or 2 and make my offer. So you're going to reach out to those FSBOs. You're going to call them in the morning and say, hey, do you need help selling your house? I love the statistic you talked about too, of if they actually meet you, there's a better chance of getting them to hire you as their agent. How does that phone call go? Like, what is your script for the guys that you called this morning that were the for sale by owners? Because right now it's like coronavirus time. Are they like, why are you calling me? Or when they answer, what do you say? What's that conversation like?
It's like, hey, so-and-so, is this the property owner for the house on Zillow? Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, this is Julian. I see your house went up for sale, and I see that you're selling it on your own. I get all of this stuff from Brandon Morena, who's been on this podcast twice. I see that your house is for sale. You're selling on your own. I totally respect that. Just wanted to know, would you be open to working with agents if they can bring you a fully qualified buyer at this time? They say, yeah, we would. Okay. Well, look, I'm not calling you. I want to be totally transparent. I'm not calling you to because I have a buyer. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, you're probably going to get lies from other agents or whatever you've heard. I just want to be here in case the house doesn't sell and serve as a backup plan. I'm going to be in the area tomorrow previewing homes. I might as well stop by and share some information with you to cause the home to sell, some market information, real live up-to-date stats of what's going on. And I have a for sale by owner backup plan that I can share with you as well, just in case if you don't sell the house on your own, which you probably will because we're in the hot market right now. You'll always have that as a backup plan in your back pocket, just in case you want to go that route, if it makes the most sense for you. And then they'll say no. They give me some reason. I'll just repeat what they say and then say the exact same thing over again. Yeah. And I'll probably do that 2 or 3 times. And they're like, I always ask them, like, you're not going to do anything unless it makes sense to you, right? They're like, right. I'm like, okay, well, I'll be over there. I'll be in that area. I could probably stop by 2, or does 3 typically work better for you? And they'll just say, just give me a time and we'll meet. But right now, it's going like, I don't want to let anybody out in the house at all unless they're submitting an offer. I totally respect that. Look, I say the same thing. Like, look, I can share some information with you, some market stats that are currently going on right now, so you can be up to date on the market. So you can see some stats, so you can know how your house fares in competition with the other houses for sale. And I have a for sale by owner backup plan. Just in case that you don't sell the house on your own. I don't have to come over the house. I can share that with you over the phone, or I would rather much show it to you so you can have a better understanding of what's going on. Like, do you have an Instagram or a Facebook? I can call you through there. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. And then, like, almost always, they just say, yeah. I'm like, yeah, sure. Or they'll say, what do you need my Facebook again? Why do you need my Facebook and my Instagram? I'm like, look, so I don't have an iPhone, so I can't FaceTime you and show you this stuff. I can email it to you, but I'd much rather just go over it through the FaceTime so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But that's not the reason why. The reason why I want to get them on like FaceTime so I can be like more of a person and like humanize myself, and I'm not just some agent. I'm like, oh, it's Julian instead of an agent.
Right.
So that's why I go for that. But that works.
That is great advice. Being able to, I love the technique there. So you're saying like, hey, this is this. You're going to do fine. You're going to do fine without me. You don't even need me. But if you do need me as a backup plan, I could show you this stuff, and then I could even just drop it off tomorrow. And they go, well, I don't really want anyone in the house right now. You're like, all right, so you don't want anyone in the house right now. So your goal is to get it from a phone call to a face-to-face in person at the house, or a face-to-face video conversation. So then they humanize you, and then go, all right, so this is who Julian is. Let's do this deal. So I've seen on Facebook, you'll do posts like, hey, I did 28 calls this morning. I did this many. How many calls did you do today? How many did you do on Friday? How many people or appointments that you got?
So today I had 30 contacts and 1 lead. Typically I do like 150 contacts a week, 600 a month. And off of social media, Jesus, off of social, I only count voice to voice contacts. I don't count social media contacts. So if we were counting social media contacts, it would probably go from like 70. It'll go from 30 to 70 because I get about 40 contacts on social media, because once I wake up from 6:30 to 7:30, all I'm doing is sending out messages. And I probably get about 3 leads. Yeah, I get 3 leads from social media almost every day because I send out 100 DMs, and those 100 DMs almost always give me 300 leads. So most of them are traditional buyers, but some of them are also investor leads. So they'll say, we know, because I also like flip houses and wholesale and stuff like that. They're like, yeah, you still buy houses? You still doing that? Like, yeah. They're like, oh, my grandma or my mom trying to sell her house is not in the best shape, and I know you buy houses, cash, whatever. Can you talk to her? So that's what it would look like typically. But those are my numbers, and typically, so the leads vary. Voice to voice, I'll probably get about 2 leads per day, 10 a week. But the thing is, I'll talk to FSBOs first, then I'll do some circle prospecting, and then I'll talk to a specific list that I'm targeting, like tax delinquent or probate or evictions or like quote unquote tired landlords, people that just own a house for a long time, and just different like lists, niche people with different situations. So the leads vary based on who I'm talking to.
Yeah. And just and even just an outbound Facebook direct message to somebody, you'll message somebody that you've never talked to before and say, hey, I'm Julian. I buy houses, or I'm Julian. I'm an agent.
I don't even introduce myself. I just say, which one of your friends is looking to buy a house, or who do you know who wants to sell the house? That's it. And I just send that out to 100 people. And it's like, I don't really need you to engage with it too much, as long as I send a message. Because like Facebook and Instagram, their algorithms are funky now. So you'll wake up and you'll see the same people over and over again on your Facebook and Instagram feed. But if you're able to DM a whole bunch of people, and depending on how often they use it, if they respond to your DM or like your DM, you have a higher chance of popping up on their feed. On their people call it a timeline, but it's not a timeline anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my goal with that, and it's proven itself to be true, because I used to have, typically I do my little Instagram stories, right, and I had on average I probably had 120 people watch my Instagram stories, but since I started doing the DM thing, and I've been doing this for about 2 months, so only 60 days, it went from 120 to probably about 250. So my engagement has went up, and that's just off of doing the DMs. And I send 100 DMs a day from 6:30 to 7:30. And then on Facebook, I get a lot more people who they won't engage necessarily with my posts, but they'll see my posts and they'll tell me about it. Like if I call them on the phone or we meet in person. But then my Facebook stories, this is the one that just like blew my mind. It went from, so I only have about 1,900 friends on Facebook. I don't know how many are active. I went from about 10 people viewing my story every day to 170 people viewing my story on Facebook. So it's like a gigantic leap, and it's all from sending messages because people are engaging with me more. So Facebook and Instagram is saying, hey, they're sending DMs back and forth. They must like each other. Let us start putting Julian stuff onto their feed. So when they pop up on their little homepage, they'll see Julian because obviously they must like each other.
Yeah. Well, and then people might want to see it now. They're going, who is this guy that sent me the message?
Real Estate Rockstars. This is Aaron Amuchastegui. And as you know, when you've been hearing these episodes, so many of our guests give us lots of free gifts and share the tools they've been using to become successful. We've got free real estate tools, scripts, ebooks, marketing materials, and more. We keep track of everything in our vault, and it's updated with new items each and every week. If you want access to that stuff, it's totally free for being a listener. All you have to do is go to agentsuccesstoolbox.com, agentsuccesstoolbox.com, and get your free gifts now.
So right now it's just, I mean, you were just doing a lot of hard work. Every day you have a goal of you're going to message 100 people on social media. You're going to make so many phone calls. You're going to do 150 phone calls a week. And if you just put in the time and put forth the calls, you're going to get a certain number of appointments, a certain number of people, and be able to push through. So if there's people right now on quarantine saying they can't do much, or they're trying to figure out what they can, that sounds like a business plan that anybody could jump into, right? Like make the phone calls, make the messages, just don't give up until do you ever have days where you're like, man, I got 10 more calls to make and I don't want to do it?
Yeah, I do. When I'm actually into it and I'm calling, and I'm like, I want to get done. It's just like it triggers. Like I'm hitting the wall. Like read his Compound Effect book, a book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. He was like, when you hit the wall, everybody else is too. So just keep going so you can beat everybody else. And I like this guy, Mark Spain, which I think he was on this podcast too. It was like within the first 10 episodes, he was saying, like, oh, Mark, why do you want to do it? What motivates you? He'll just straight up tell you, I just want to beat you. So I'm thinking if I'm hitting the wall, everybody else is hitting the wall. And I see the agents on IG and Facebook, and I'm like, I'm better than them. So I keep going.
Julian, I love that. I love that advice and that everybody could be doing that right now. So you have listened to hundreds of our podcasts from the Real Estate Rockstars. Did you have any favorites? You have already named like 6 or 7 people that you heard from on here that now you look to. Do you have any that stick out as some of your favorites?
It was one with a guy from Caldwell Baker. He was talking about a listing appointment. I can't really remember the episode or his name, but I remember what he was talking about. But I like the Mark Spain one. I like the Mark Spain one at the beginning. I like the Jeff Glover one. I like the 2 Brandon Moreno. I don't know the numbers. I like the 2, both the Brandon Moreno ones. And I like the everything that David Osborne gets on.
Yeah. Yep. Those are awesome. David was back on just like 2 weeks ago. I had David on here. We were talking about kind of what agents can do to come out of this. And if you listen to that one, he talked about now we're in a crash, and so whenever we're in the good market, you have to worry that you're always so much closer to a crash. And then now that we're in a crash, he'd say we're so much closer. Every day we're one day closer to the recovery. And the people that do focus and work hard right now, like every day we're a step closer to the recovery, we're just going to boom. So let's be ready. Let's work hard. Let's make those phone calls. And so you're going through a ton of stuff. You also like wholesale and everything else. So how long have you been a real estate agent? How'd you get into real estate?
Been a real estate agent for 2 years. So I got my license in January 2018. So 2 years and like 3 or 4 months. And then I've been in real estate since 2017. And the way I got into real estate was I was at this fundraiser, and I was just talking to people here and there, and then this drunk guy came out of nowhere. He was like, I'm a real estate business doing $20 million a year. I want to sleep, but my girlfriend tells me to stay home, sleep, but I can't sleep because the money's calling me, blah, blah, blah. So he was like, this guy who I was talking to, he was like, yeah, Julian's looking for an internship. And the guy was like, yeah, I take an intern, but I ain't gonna pay you. I ain't pay you nothing. He's like, oh, that's my money. And I was like, okay, I'm fine with that. And he's like, meet me in my office tomorrow. So I hit him up on LinkedIn, got his office address, got over there. And in that office, there was a guy who owned a whole bunch of motels. Miles, what did Miles do? He was a developer. He was building condos and stuff down in Florida. And then we had Ryan flipped houses. Then we had Kenny, who was the crazy guy I was talking to. He was the accountant and he flipped houses. And just being around them, I mean, look, hey, you're in GoBundance, right?
Yeah, that's one of the masterminds I'm part of. Yeah.
Yeah, so y'all came out with the book Tribe of Millionaires.
Yeah.
But what if one decision can change everything? That one decision is changing who you're around. So I was around those people, and I just started doing it because they were doing it.
Yeah, that is awesome. And yes, and what a great shout out to the book, right? So Tribe of Millionaires talks about that. It talks about guys like a guy going along, living his life the normal way, and then not realizing that there was even like, masterminds and everything else. And that one decision. So you made that one decision to go be somebody's intern, right? For free, even just to see where it turned out to. And now you're your own boss pretty much. Like you're doing deals, you're waking, nobody's telling you what time to wake up. Nobody's telling you how many calls you're going to make a day. You're doing that now. And even especially now in tough times is when we talk about it's the most important for people to find peers to talk to. So are you in any mastermind groups? Is it, do you interact with other guys or people you bounce ideas off of?
I'm in one. It's called Our Real Estate Pro with Dan Noma and Kenny Klaus. They're out in Arizona. It's for the iBuyer thing. And that's the only mastermind group I'm in. But I talk to a lot of real estate folks. I got my own little board of advisors, like in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill saying he like envisioned Andrew Carnegie and JP Morgan on his board of advisors. But I have the board of advisors, but it's like people I actually talk to. So I'm not in a mastermind group, but I'm talking to people who are bigger and better than me in real estate every day, and learning from guys like Pat Haven, read his book twice all the way through. Gary Keller, read all their books. David Osborne, Tim Rowe, all those guys. So I pay attention to every single word they say, and every single podcast they jump onto. So like even this podcast, I listen to it, and it's like they're having a conversation. I'll just pretend like I'm there. So that I guess I have my own makeup mastermind.
Yeah, no, that's the truth, man. Anyone out there that doesn't have the resources out there, I mean, podcasts are free, and you find your people and you follow them around, and it's like getting to hang out with them because you and I are just having a conversation. You and I are getting to know each other right now, and other people are getting to hang out in my office with me in your car with you, and they're getting to hear it all, right? So so it's just like they're here along for the ride, and so I think that is a great perspective to be able to do that. So when it comes to deals, how many real estate deals are you doing as an agent? How many are you doing as an investor right now?
So in January, I had 10 closings. Those were all iBuyer closings. In February, I had 4. In March, I had 3. And in April, I had 1. And then I have in April, I had 2. And then I have some other ones that are lined up for May. I have 2 lined up for May.
So what are the average price of those deals?
Average sales price is $153, but a lot of those, so people will say, oh, the average sales, I'm not getting a 3% commission. My commissions are usually like 4.5%, and the biggest one I've got was 11% on a $158,000 sale. Yeah.
All right. So because you're kind of hustling, you're going to find it, you're doing some of the iBuyer stuff, or you're hooking people up with a buyer and you're putting a buyer and a seller together, almost like wholesale. So you're not just getting 3% on those. So 145,000 as the average price, but your profit's like an average like 10,000 a house, you want to say, or more than that?
Average, it'd probably be like 6. It'd probably be a 6 because the average sales price would probably be like 4. I mean, not 4.5. The average commission is 4.5, but then you'll have these commissions that are bigger, like the 11% one, and that'd be like 11,000. Let me see here. I'm doing the math on. Yeah, so 6. It says 6.75. So that would be the average commission.
See, average about 6.75 of your commission. Well, I think that is a great way to do it. And as you jump around and you get to be out there hustling, it makes sense, right? You're working hard, you're finding people, and you're having to convince them like, hey, you haven't been able to sell on your own, so I'll be able to help you now. So what are your goals over the next year? For this, I know, and right now everything's kind of in this crazy limbo. So have you looked into? Are you still making as many calls as you were before? How many deals you hope to do before the end of the year?
So my goal was to do 40, and I was on track to do way more than 40. But my main focus is to just, I don't have like a income goal anymore or a closing goal. So my income goal was 250 this year. My closing goal was 40. And I think, let's do the math on that. I think I was dead on. Hold on, 250. Yeah, so if I would have had 40 closings with an average commission of 6,250, that would have been, I don't know if you can see that. That would have been right on them. Right.
Yep, the 6 1/4. So yeah, you got.
Now my goal. Yeah, now my goal is just to like be consistent because I don't know how everything's gonna play out because of this quarantine thing. So I just want to be consistent. Talk to a lot of people on social media. Talk to a lot of people voice to voice. Meet with as many sell by owners as possible, and try to find as many hedge funds as possible to sell houses to, because they're the ones with the money, right? The only people who are going to buy are the ones with the money, and nobody has more money than hedge funds.
Yeah, the hedge funds are able to, especially if we're going into this rough market. I mean, one of the things you said there, Julian, is you were going to focus on the stuff you can control. So you said your goal right now isn't necessarily how many closings you're going to get, but you can control how many people you call per day. You can control how many DMs you send on social media. So you're saying, hey, instead of setting your goals for what your production is going to be, you're just going to set your goals on the things you can control. You're going to make sure that you talk to people, make sure you make the phone calls, you reach out to people, and then it's all going to come out in the wash anyway, right? Then you're going to get if you focus on making those phone calls and you don't stress about the outcome, then you're going to get those deals to happen. How old are you? Where did you grow up?
I'm 25. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, in a neighborhood called Joyland. It's been mentioned by a lot of rappers and like gangster movies. So it's not the best place. But yeah, I'm from Atlanta, grew up in Atlanta. And like you were saying, the thing is, I think it's the best time to be a real estate agent right now. And it's not to make money because anybody can make money when the market's hot. Like sell by owners sell their house when the market's hot. So it's not hard. Real estate's not hard. But I think right now it's just, and Jeff Glover said this, it's just all the conversations I'm having right now will like set me up for next year. Just set me up whenever the lockdown's lifted and the lenders come off of their requirements. Because one thing I'm really good at is follow up. I will follow up with you until you die. Like I still keep it, and it's just a habit. I keep in touch with all my second and third grade teachers. Like the last time I talked to my second grade teachers, probably about 2 weeks ago. So I'm following up with every single body for my whole life. I know I have all my teachers on Facebook. I have all their numbers. I talk to all of them. So I talk to some of them about real estate.
How do you keep track of everybody?
Mojo. Just put them in Mojo, and you can set little follow up reminders in Mojo, and you just get on Mojo every day and make your calls, and it'll be right there. And then on Facebook, it's kind of hard not to keep track of everybody because like once you DM so many people, you're DMing the same people over and over again.
Yeah, you see the list. I like that. So you're using Mojo as your CRM to make sure that you continuously follow up. Something awesome about your story too that you talked about, right? So you didn't grow up in the best place. You grew up in the place that are on the gangster movies and the rappers are talking about. But your education has been like you named off like 20 books you've read. Right. So you're reading books, you're listening to podcasts, you have different coaches that you hear, you're following those methods, and you are just working really, really hard. So have you done anything else for education, or are you just completely self-educated in books that are out there?
Yeah, just reading. And Ray Dalio said, he was like, a lot of our best learning will be through experience than reflecting on it. And if like a lot of the stuff I do with iBuyers, I'm pretty sure I'm probably like, man, it can't be more than 5 agents doing what I'm doing, like in the whole world with the iBuyers. It can't be. And with because I'm not representing anybody, I'm just brokering deals. And the same thing with the hedge fund. And going back to what Ray Dalio said, he said a lot of our best learning will be through experience and reflecting on it. It's like that is the best way to learn. And when you think about it, Ray Dalio has this hedge fund. Really big. You got to have $5 billion net worth and $100 million cash to be his client. He's not even accepting people. So that's just for him to take a look at you. And he's got investment strategies that he will never share with the world. You can't find it in any books. Can't do none of that. And he was able to develop those strategies off of reflecting on his experience. So that's where a lot of my education is mainly coming from. It's just like, do something, mess up, or not even mess up, just like, I could have done that better. How could I have done that better? And then just figure out, just think of a way and just implement it next time, and just keep doing that over and over again. You just keep refining your own process. And a lot of this stuff, a lot of the thinking and reflecting is done when I walk my dog in the morning and at night. So those probably like my most valuable times. And then going back to like this guy, Earl Nightingale, right? He has a video on YouTube, really, really old, probably in the 1930s. This was like 19 minutes that changed your life. And he was like, oh, there's a lumber dealer who's making big money in a recession, making big money in the hard times during the Great Depression. They say, how do you do it? How do you do it? And the guy says, well, I just go in my office, I lock the door, I sit in my chair, and I just make sure the lights off, and I think. So that's how he was doing it. Ray Dalio said, reflect on your experience. I was like, oh, okay, put those two together. I need to make my own process. So what did the guy say? You can't learn how to ride a bike on a seminar or something like that.
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to learn from experience, and you got to reflect on it. That's an important thing that I think a lot of people miss too. Like actually just reflecting on the experience afterward. I don't know if it was somebody that I interviewed or I was listening to a podcast where there was a guy that was booking in his thinking time. So I've got a few days a week now on my calendar. I have 2 hours that says thinking time. And that's like just sitting in my office and just like a piece of paper and just start writing down stuff. Like, what ideas do I have? What did I learn this week? That sort of thing. You know, Julian, your story today it's really super inspirational. Like as we're closing up the end of the podcast, like there was so much info you just went through. But when I say it's inspirational, it is an example of, hey, there are no excuses out there, right? There are no excuses. Just to, like, you have worked hard. You took a free internship to learn how to do stuff. You've gone and tried, and you failed, and you learned, and you failed, and you learned, and you've read every book out there. You listen to podcasts that are out there. You watch YouTube videos that are from videos from like 80 years ago. Like you're doing everything you can. Plus, you're making a certain amount of phone calls every day, coronavirus or not. A certain amount of direct messages to people, coronavirus or not. And it's just waiting to see what interactions you're going to get. You're using some of that technology, Mojo Dialer, and some of those other things. But really, it's really cool to hear how active that you've been. And so with being self-educated, other than mentors and your own people on there, you're doing 30 to 40 deals a year, and you're out. And even though, one of my favorite things you said today was you're not going to focus on your production right now. You're going to focus on the things you can, on the phone calls, on the messages. Like, you can't control what's going to go on in the world. You can't control which ones are going to close or not. But you can control how many phone calls, how many emails. In closing, is there anything that you wish you would have said, or if people want to reach out to you, they want to say, hey, I've got a referral in Atlanta, or hey, I'm a hedge fund buyer and I want to buy some stuff in Atlanta. People want to find you. What's the best way they can find you?
Instagram, Facebook, Julian Colvard, my name. Very active on there. I got 2 Instagrams, juliancolvard.realtor and then Julian Colvard.
So you spelled Julian's last name, it's Julian. His last name is Colvard. I mean, it'll be in our show notes. There's a lot less people driving in cars right now, so you're going to see the show notes on your computer or on our YouTube video. Julian, any last pieces of advice that you would give to agents out there right now?
It's very, 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 very simple. If you listen to this podcast, you already know what I'm about to say. The only thing, you don't have to have any skills. You can be enthusiastic. You can be monotone. You cannot just be horrible. If you just talk to people every day, you will succeed. That's the common theme. If you listen to any podcast having to do with real estate agents, any YouTube, just talk to people. You have enough conversations, you're going to put in the path of opportunity. My second traditional buyer who I'm working with, or we're on a contract right now, he was a FSBO, and he's like, can you help me buy a house? I was like, yeah, sure. And he sends them to me. He's like, I want to go look at this. So he's like outworking me when it comes to finding houses, but it's like, I met him through just talking to somebody, and you don't have to, and he asked me, can I be his agent? So there wasn't really a buyer consultation. It wasn't really any skills put into that to get that client. So if you just talk to a whole bunch of people, you're going to see.
That is awesome. I love that advice. If you just talk to people every day, Whether you're answering the phone or dialing, you talk to people every day as much as you can, and you will be successful. I mean, there's just the example, even from the Facebook message. It's such a simple one out of nowhere, like, hey, who wants to sell me their house? And half the people ignore you, and then some people reply back, and then they are real leads. And because you did that, I mean, I never even heard of this. You could message 100 people, and now you're going to show up in their stories more than you would before. So the great tips today, Julian. Thanks for coming on the show, especially as an avid listener that's listened to a couple hundred of our podcasts. I am excited that you got to come on here today and share with the people out there. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. This is a life milestone for me being on here.
Awesome. Check it off the bucket list, man. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
Rockstar Nation, thank you for listening to Real Estate Rockstars. Listen, I need a favor. If you find this free content helpful, if you find our downloadable items from each guest helpful, please, I need you to pull out your pointing finger. Yes, the one finger that points at people, and hit subscribe. Yes, subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the better we look in the ratings, and the easier it is to get guests like Robert Kiyosaki, Barbara Corcoran, all the players that are on $1 million listing in the different cities. All that stuff makes it easier the more subscribers we get. So please subscribe. And listen, there's a lot of places you can leave comments. There's a lot of places you can like. We're on Facebook. We have an Instagram page. Instagram page is I am Pat Hyben. The Facebook is Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Feel free to leave us comments there. The most popular form of commenting seems to happen on YouTube. Yes, for whatever reason, it's a very open environment. So just go to YouTube and go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Leave us comments there. Some of them we will read on the show. We love your feedback. So thanks, guys, and I hope you are having a great day. Oh, and also, listen, if you're going to subscribe and you haven't already left a review on iTunes, please do that too. Have a great day, and thanks so much, Rockstar Nation. I really appreciate you.